What's up everybody, it's Joe here with Joseph Blake Photography, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the specifications that we have for the upcoming DJI Air 4. Real quick, before we get into these specifications, I will be doing a comparison video that should be available on the channel around the same time that this video is, comparing these specs to the Air 3 as well as the Mini 4 Pro, so that you can decide whether or not you should be jumping into this category and purchasing new equipment, or if you should be waiting and seeing if these specs indeed come out to be true. I'm doing my best to weed through the information that we have to give you what I think is going to be what we're going to see. Some of this is confirmed, some of this is rumor, some of this is speculation, but let's take a look at what we're going to hopefully be seeing pretty soon from DJI in their update to the Air series. Also, drinking game at home. Let's see how many times I maybe say Mavic Air instead of just Air. It's hard to get that out of my head. All right, so the Air series is known as the intermediary between the Mini and the Mavic Pro series. It creates or gives the user a lighter weight version of this drone with most of the capability that you get from the Mavic series. Specifically, that being the multi-camera options that you get in the Mavic Pro. And it looks like what we're going to be seeing in the newest version of the Air 4 will continue with that expectation. We'll be getting two cameras, both still in the 24 and 70 millimeter versions, or the 3X zoom version as they describe it. But we're getting some really cool bumps to these cameras. Number one, they're both going to be 1-inch sensors. Now, no indication as to whether or not these sensors will be getting the Hasselblad branding similar to the Pro series, but they will be 1-inch sensors. Another thing to note, even the Pro doesn't have dual 1-inch sensors. It has the 4/3 sensor, and then it has a 1/1.3, which the previous Air had, and then the 1/2 sensor. So while the Pro is coming with 3, none of them are 1-inch or larger except for that main 24 millimeter sensor. So on this camera, we'll be getting a 70 millimeter sensor that will have more surface area to it than the Pro version is currently shipping. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw an update to the Pro pretty soon though that would have that, but that's going to be a future video. The other thing that's going to be coming with these sensors is they're going to have variable apertures. So previously, the wider angled aperture, the 24 millimeter, had a 1.7 f1.7 equivalent aperture, and the zoom, the 70 millimeter, had a 2.8 f-stop aperture. What we're hearing now is that they will both be getting a variable range. That's a huge improvement, and again, another feature coming down from the Pro line. Still expecting these 1-inch sensors to be 48 megapixels. That seems to work pretty well. So shooting as well as 48 and 12 megapixel binned photos. Expecting frame rates at 4K with 30, 60, and now 120 frames per second, as well as a bump to the full high speed or slow-mo video up to 240 frames per second from 200 in the current iteration of the Air 3. Also expecting that the 4K footage to come to the vertical shooting. Previously that was 2.7K. I see that happening with their ability to match that larger sensor, be able to scale that entire sensor vertically. HDR support with HLG and D-Log-M with 10-bit footage at about 150, maybe a bump to 200 megabits per second, that we're not 100% sure about. And the camera will be getting a mechanical shutter, which will improve and increase the frame rate options or the speed at which you can capture stills. Another bit of news that we're getting is that this will have a slightly larger battery. Now, the previous drone, the Air 3, was getting about 46 minutes with a 4200 milliamp battery. Expecting that to go up to about 4500 and probably going to see 51, 52, maybe 53 minutes of flight time. Not hearing anything about transmission changes, so still expecting OcuSync 4, same transmission distance, probably same support for the RC2 controller, but also hearing that we're going to get improved omnidirectional sensing, improved obstacle avoidance, probably better cameras, faster processing on those, which is going to be great to, again, prevent you from hitting a tree. Expecting very similar pricing for the drone, $1099, somewhere in that range, $1,100, $1,200. And for those of you, before you come to me in the comments with this drone isn't even out, it hasn't even been released, we don't know any of this isn't real. Okay, look at the specs that we've seen for the last 3 Air drones. Look at the way that DJI takes the technology from the Pro level and brings it down, just like they take it from the Air and they bring it down to the Mini. We're gonna see most of this stuff here pretty soon out of this drone. The reason that I wanna make this available to you as a consumer, as a professional, as a content creator, because that's what we do on this channel. We talk about the technology and the resources that we use to create content, whether that's in corporate or social media or just for yourself, or if you're just, I don't know, using drone footage as B-roll in your videos like I do to just create fun transitions. Whether or not this is the type of drone that you're going to be buying is important, because you might be looking at the Mavic 3 Pro and this might be a better deal for you because it will be lighter weight and it will have a lot of those same technologies with dual sensors, with variable apertures, 1-inch sensor. I'm currently shooting with the Mavic 2 Pro with the 1-inch Hasselblad sensor. I absolutely love that drone. This would be an upgrade for me because it would really allow me to push things to that additional flight time, lighter weight, newer controller with better technology in terms of both sensing and transmission, as well as that 70mm sensor. But I would still get to keep 10-bit log, variable apertures, a mechanical shutter, lots of pros here for me, and I'd be able to pick up that 48 megapixel still, whereas right now I'm at 20 like you are on the Pro. So I'm not saying that everything here is absolutely 100% going to be what we get, but I'm pretty confident this is 80 to 90% of what we're going to see out of the Air 4. So if you're about to pull the trigger on buying a Air 3 or a Mini 4 Pro or maybe the Mavic 3 Pro, maybe this information will help you make a better decision if you have the ability to hold off and wait just a little bit to see what we end up actually getting. Anyway, that's why I make these kind of videos. And if that's the kind of thing that you're into, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Also, Instagram links, all the things, all the stuff that I use to create my content down below. Thanks so much.